my son been straight, and I'm thinking reconciling with his father was going to be what's best. No, it's not. It's the opposite.
She grabbed a glass jar of weed in it, threw at her. Boom. Said, all right, Rock, get her. So
Barely responds to sound. That's when things took a turn, cause Chrisean's ex-best friend Janet jumped online and confirmed she tried to get medical help for the baby.
You convinced her to help Junior. I did. My cousin is a specialist. I did the best I could. My cousin works with autistic children. She works one-on-one with all kinds of children.
That's when the word autism started circulating. Fans didn't want to believe it at first, but after the visuals, they started saying the signs are there. And listen, no parent deserves hate over their child.
Ever wonder what happens when a rapper steps out of prison and is met not with applause, but a full-blown baby mama showdown? In a clip that's already taken the internet by storm, Blueface's attempts at a peaceful reunion are hijacked by two of his partners in crime, Chrissy and Jade, each ready to stake her claim on the same playground and the same son. Right after he's freed, the streets are buzzing. Blueface walks into an indoor playground, hopes high, a chance to reconnect with his kid. The moment the camera captures him, hand in hand with his little boy, the air thickens with tension. Chrissy and Rock stride in, eyes locked on the moment that could define a family. And just when you think this could be a quiet, heartwarming scene, the clip flips, arguments erupt, phones fly, and the footage goes viral in seconds. Get ready to see the raw, unfiltered chaos that unfolded, the reactions that followed, and why this clip is sparking conversations far beyond the music charts. Stick around. This is one showdown you won't want to miss. Blueface's release from the California County Jail felt like a long-awaited sunrise after 2 years of black nights. The day the metal door opened, the air outside smelled like fresh opportunity and a faint trace of regret. He stepped out, his heart thumping, his mind replaying the long sentence that had kept him behind bars for 4 years, only to have it cut down to 300 days after his lawyer fought the final appeal. The first thing he thought about was his kids. 2 of them, Javon and Journey, were his oldest, the ones Jaden, the OG baby mama, had raised through the highs and lows. The other, a younger son, CJ, had been born from the more recent love that had spiraled into chaos. Blueface had been a public figure, a rapper who'd made headlines with a viral song, but his life had always been a tightrope between fame and personal turbulence. And now, the moment of reunion was about to turn into a dramatic storm. The scene unfolded at an indoor playground, a bright, bubble-filled environment that promised laughter and safe, carefree moments. Blueface, with a hopeful grin, had walked into the space with his 2 older children, ready to make a quiet, heartfelt reconnection. His plan was simple: spend a day with them, play on the slides, share a laugh, and let the outside world fade for a moment. The first seconds were just that: a father smiling, kids running around, the hum of children and arcade music in the background. Then Chrissy and Rock, Blueface's newer baby mama and her partner, walked in. They were carrying their youngest son, CJ, a baby who had become the epicenter of a love triangle that had now reached the streets of Los Angeles. The air shifted instantly. There was a palpable tension that thickened the room, as if the very lights dimmed with the weight of unspoken words. "You're not invited," Jaden's voice crackled, though she was not present at the playground. Her reputation for being a grounded, practical mother was well known, and she had never let Blueface's antics drag her into chaos. "Hey, look, we're just, Rock's voice attempted to bridge, but the silence that followed was louder than words could convey. The footage that would later flood social media captured the moment in brutal clarity. The camera, carried by a passerby, recorded Blueface's attempt to keep the peace. He'd moved between the children, swapping affectionate nicknames for CJ, Junior, CJ, Sonny, trying to find a name that felt real, as if the name could settle the storm. But the vibe was off. The children's smiles were tinged with confusion, the adults' faces etched with anger and disbelief. The clip hit the internet like a punch in the gut. Viral shares spiked, and within hours, the footage was trending. The narrative that spread alongside it was one of a rapper trying to regain his footing, only to find himself caught in a web of women who had once claimed to be his partners. The hashtags that trended alongside the clip read Blueface baby drama, family tensions, in-law love triangle. The comments section was a battleground of opinions, speculation, and rumors. But the story behind the clip was far more complex than a simple showdown. Blueface's return from prison had been precipitated by a violation that occurred during a stay at the county jail. His manager, Whack 100, had guided him through a labyrinth of legalities and promotions. "I didn't approve for no crap to be around my kids," Blueface's manager had warned. It was a stern reminder that every public appearance had to be carefully vetted. Yet, in a moment of reckless impulsiveness, Blueface had slipped into Las Vegas to check on his music and his image. That trip had violated the terms of his probation. No unapproved appearances, no unapproved travel, leading to the heavy sentence that kept him incarcerated for months. The story of his manager's attempt to salvage his image was one of a battle against a system that seemed to favor punitive action over creative solutions. Whack 100 had called the legal team, pleaded with the judge, and tried to argue that the violation was a mistake, a lapse of judgment that should not outweigh the rapper's contributions and remorse. In the end, the court gave him a chance. A reduced sentence, a second chance to prove he was more than a one-hit wonder.
My back I still have to go to the hospital. Bro, I told my brother.
The day after the viral clip, Jaden, who had been the steady hand for the older kids, became a voice of fury in the online conversation. She tweeted, "He's gone. We're still looking for the right way to handle this. No more drama." Her comments were direct. Her tone was a mix of frustration and an attempt at mediation. She had never wanted to be in the middle of an argument that involved her son's father. Rock's partner, on the other hand, had become a headline in her own right. During his incarceration, she moved like she had never been in a relationship before, posting selfies with a street rapper she had begun dating during that time. The video showed her in various public spaces, laughing and hugging CJ, but with a new man. People on the street speculated that she had been unfaithful, that she was taking advantage of Blueface's absence. The rumor said she was being too lax with her responsibilities, that she was just moving with the wind. She posted more intimate clips, kissing and twerking on a live stream, laughing at a DJ set, making it look as if she had been free of guilt. The footage was a paradox, a woman preaching peace and spirituality in one moment and kissing a stranger in the next. The internet could not have contained the complexity of this narrative. Many said she had become an influencer without the weight of a responsibility. Some called her a betrayer. Others accused her of manipulating the public eye for her own benefit. The debate raged, echoing deeper issues of how women's choices are framed by a public figure's image. The viral clip also brought the question of Blueface's own reaction to light. In the comments, fans debated whether the rapper had been prepared for the confrontation. Did he foresee the clash? Was he going to stand firm or try to avoid the confrontation? As the footage spread, many speculated that the video was evidence that Blueface had not planned to meet his baby mamas. Some fans claimed that the rapper's return was a surprise to all. A sense of mystery enveloped the situation, with speculation about whether he was trying to find a new path for his family or just living the dream he'd cultivated while in prison. Blueface's first instinct after the viral clip was to look to his children. The moment he stepped into the playground, he was ready to hug them, to give them a sense of normalcy. But the moment his father's eyes met the camera through a live feed, he knew the path ahead was not straightforward. The clip was a mirror that reflected the complicated relationship with both women. Blueface was forced to confront not only the past, but also the possibility of the future. In the days that followed, Jaden took the helm, working with Blueface's publicist and his manager to navigate the legal aspects of the situation. They drafted statements, carefully phrased to convey remorse and readiness to rebuild. Blueface's response was to step away from the limelight for a while, to listen to his children's needs and to try to heal his own broken relationships. Meanwhile, Chrissy's partner had his own complications. He was rumored to have been a street rapper who had found himself at odds with Christian's mother's public image. He reportedly told her that she needed to stop flaunting his baby daddy in every post and tattoo, and that she should get her baby daddy back. His own reputation was shaky. He had 3 children, yet no clear claim of paternity. The public backlash was swift. The woman who had been the mother of his daughter posted a video on social media accusing him of being a bad father who had never claimed any of his children. She even called for disciplinary action from his own gang. Chrissy's partner, who had a different set of children, was also in the spotlight. The same woman's mother posted on Instagram calling him out and calling for a response from his own gang. These online outbursts made it clear that Chrissy was not just a passive participant in her own story, but an active influencer in how her image was portrayed. The public's interest was piqued. Every new post, every live stream, every photo of Chrissy twerking, laughing, kissing strangers had a ripple effect on the narrative. People debated whether she was just a woman who'd chosen a different path, or whether she had deliberately exploited Blueface's fame and image to climb her own ladder. The internet was never silent. The comments were a mixture of support for the children, accusations of betrayal, and a lot of speculation about what the future would hold. In the legal sphere, Blueface's manager, Wack 100, remained the critical figure. He had defended Blueface's right to appear at public events, arguing that the rapper's image was essential for his career. We're dealing with a situation that's not just a personal drama, but a public one. He has to be in control, Wack 100 said in a press release. The message was that the legal and media team were working to ensure that Blueface could regain his reputation. The viral clip ultimately turned into a symbol of larger systemic issues: how fame can distort familial relationships, how the public can be quick to judge, and how the law can catch up with celebrity culture. The clip had a life of its own. It was reshared, recommented, reinterpreted by fans, critics, and the people who were part of the story. It showed that in the world of music and fame, nothing is ever straightforward. Every public statement, every social media post, and every private conversation could become a part of a larger narrative that could shape careers and relationships. So, when Blueface emerged from the jail, he was stepping into a storm that had been brewing for years.
He don't need a father. He don't need a grandmother. He don't need those people.
He was not just a rapper on the brink of a new record. He was a father, caught between 2 women who had once loved him, a public figure whose every move was scrutinized, and a man who had to navigate the turbulent waters of his own life. In the playground, the first line that echoed from the footage was, "Yeah, just PSA, I didn't approve for no crap to be around my kids." It was a line that made it clear that no one was willing to be there without a clear purpose. "Oh, we got the last one." The comments continued, "Come on, JJ, I'm on the way, I'm on the way." The words were a chorus of urgency, of a man trying to move forward while the past seemed to tug him back. The story that unfolded in the viral clip was the beginning of a new chapter. Blueface's journey forward would no longer be about the music alone, but also about the responsibility he had for his children, the responsibility he had to rebuild the fractured family, and the responsibility he had to confront the public image that had been built on both his success and his controversies. The room at the playground had turned into a battlefield, but it was also a place of potential. Blueface could have walked away from it all, ignoring the drama and focusing on his music. Instead, he chose to be present, to let the children run, to make a decision that could shape his future. The viral clip was a moment of truth, an honest glimpse of a man in the middle of a storm, looking for a way out that would bring his family together, even if the path was still unclear. The footage hit the timeline like a thunderclap, a raw, unfiltered moment that pulled everyone out of their scrolling and onto a conversation that had been simmering for months. Jaden, the mother of Blueface's first 2 children, had never shied from the spotlight. But this time, she stepped into the frame with an urgency that matched the weight of what she was about to say. She posted a public statement that was short but absolute. "I didn't approve for no woman to be around my kids, so I hope everyone's in the same place when I arrive. I'm on the way." The words came without a filter, without a pretext, and without any hints of hesitation. The mother of Javon and Journey was not about to let another woman waltz into a space that she had defended so fiercely during Blueface's incarceration. Within hours, Jaden drove to the playground where the footage was taken, her eyes narrowed with purpose. She was there not to create a spectacle, but to set the record straight and to make it clear that her children's safety and dignity were non-negotiable. She didn't need to use social media to be heard. Her presence was enough. Jaden's protective stance echoed the loyalty she had shown in the past months when she kept the household tight and never allowed any disrespect or embarrassment to fall on Blueface's name. She had taken on the role of the main baby mama, holding the line against the backdrop of rumors that painted Chrisean Rock as a loose, unbound figure who had been out there like a single woman while Blueface was in jail. Chrisean, on the other hand, had been riding a different wave. She had spent the entire period that Blueface was locked behind bars, moving freely, posting content, and flirting with a lifestyle that felt like she was on her own. Now that she had resurfaced, her voice was a blend of contrition and self-justification. Chrisean claimed she had always been loyal to Blueface, even after he was in custody. "Actions speak louder than apologies," she wrote in a new post, but the content of her apology was thin compared to the bold claims she was making. She posted about how she had been changed and offered to put her hand out to the public with a statement that she had always been invested in Blueface's future, even if that meant paying money or providing a platform. Her attempts to reinsert herself into the narrative seemed like a desperate gambit to reclaim the role she once had. The two women were not just fighting over Blueface's love or his image, they were fighting over the control of a legacy that had been built in both their lives. The kids were caught in the middle. Their voices were not heard in any of the posts or comments, but their presence was palpable. A child's laugh that should have been carefree, a child's question about why the adults were shouting at each other. These were the underlying threads that were pulling at the fabric of their lives. The drama wasn't meant for them. It was a spectacle for the streets and the internet. Street code, that unspoken, unbreakable rule that everyone from the block to the studio respects, plays a huge role in how this whole thing has unfolded. When a man is locked up, the code says, don't embarrass him, don't bring people into his life in a way that could stain his reputation, and definitely don't act like you're single and untouchable. Chrisean crossed that line when she moved in the public eye like she was still free, even though Blueface was behind bars. Jaden, however, stayed solid, proving that she could maintain control while keeping her children out of the toxic spotlight. The public reaction was swift and divisive. Fans and pundits alike threw their arguments into the comments, labeling Chrisean as a foul player and Jaden as the solid protector. A few people even began to question whether Blueface's own public image could survive another layer of chaos. Every time a new clip dropped, every new post that went live, the narrative kept tightening around the two women. The streets were watching, measuring each move against the code and each woman's past behavior. Blueface himself found himself at a crossroads that seemed impossible to navigate.
Enough to say whether somebody's real or not real.
But I can recognize when
No, you can't, because you're the
He had to make a choice that would define his future not only in the music industry, but in the lives of the children he fathered. The two women represented different needs. Jaden's need was for respect and stability, her insistence that Blueface honor the role she had taken during his absence. Chrisean's need was for validation and love, her attempts to prove that she could be part of Blueface's life now that he was free. Blueface was being pulled in two directions, each pull carrying its own set of consequences. He could not keep both women satisfied, especially when one had spent the years of his imprisonment protecting her children and the other had flirted with the freedom that he could not enjoy. He looked at the clip again, This time, not with the eyes of a public figure, but with the eyes of a man who had to take accountability. The footage had shown Jaden's protective stance and Chrisean's flamboyant attempts at redemption. The stakes were higher now. The kids, who had grown up hearing both sides, were starting to feel the tremors. The innocence of their childhood was being replaced by a subtle anxiety that perhaps they would be forced to choose sides. This is not a drama they asked to be part of, nor is it a narrative that should involve them at all. In the comments, people were already debating who had handled the situation better. Some argued that Chrisean was the one who had made an effort to show loyalty, her willingness to pay money to Blueface and to provide a platform for his growth. Others said that Jaden's steady presence and her calm, smart approach were the ones that would carry the day. The narrative was not just about who could outplay the other. It was about integrity, about whether Chrisean would learn from her past mistakes and stop treating the relationship as a stage, and whether Blueface would finally grow up and take responsibility. The streets, however, never sleep. The next clip would likely show Chrisean attempting to re-enter the conversation, perhaps posting that she had been loyal all along, or dropping a new statement that would be more about her own redemption than about the kids' safety. Jaden might push back with a more forceful presence, maybe even stepping out of the playground to show that she would not let anyone else cross her children's lines. Blueface could either find a way to co-parent peacefully, perhaps agreeing to see each mother at different times and ensuring that each mother had a say in how the kids spent their time. Or he could choose to align more closely with one and ignore the other, but this would only lead to more drama and public backlash. The drama is far from over, but the potential next steps can already be mapped. If Blueface chooses to maintain a peaceable co-parenting arrangement, he would have to communicate clearly and respectfully with both mothers, setting up boundaries and ensuring that both can raise their children without fear of being dragged into the public eye. He would need to learn to separate his personal life from his public persona. He would also have to acknowledge that his past actions have left a void that cannot be ignored. The kids would finally have a chance to grow up with the assurance that their parents are working together. Chrisean, on the other hand, would have to continue proving her loyalty, not only through words, but through consistent, responsible actions. She would have to stop flaunting her independence while Blueface is free, and instead focus on building a reputation of stability and respect. Her claim that she had been loyal all along would need to be backed by a new behavior that aligns with the street code, showing that she no longer enjoys the limelight at the expense of others. Jaden's role is to keep her children's safety a priority. She has already proven that she can stand up for her kids, and she will likely continue to enforce boundaries, ensuring that no one crosses the line again. She might even take a step further, maybe suggesting a neutral setting where both mothers can meet to talk about the kids' future, something that would give Blueface a chance to see the benefits of cooperation. The public, always hungry for the next headline, will keep watching. Every new clip, every new post, every new comment will be a piece in this puzzle that seems to never finish. The story is still unfolding, and it looks like Jaden's steady, smart approach is winning the day for now. But the drama will not end. The streets will continue to keep an eye on each movement, each claim of loyalty, each attempt at redemption. The world will keep watching Blueface's baby mamas fight over him, and everyone will wonder if this chaos can ever be resolved, or if it's just another chapter in the story of a man who can't seem to live up to the role he once wanted to play. Blueface's face fell as the camera cut away from the playground's laughter. The silence that followed felt heavy, as if the whole neighborhood held its breath. The next day, a live stream from his apartment was posted, and the comments flooded in, each one more frantic than the last. The public's fascination with his baby mama's drama had reached a fever pitch, and the platform's algorithm amplified every heated exchange. The footage was not the first time he had been caught in a media maelstrom, but the timing made it feel like a new chapter, one that could either be written with forgiveness or finished with bitterness. In the living room, Blueface stared at the monitor, his mind racing through the possible scripts the next day could follow. He could either own the narrative and push forward with a plan for peace, Or he could let the chaos spiral, hoping that the attention would fade as quickly as it rose. The temptation to lean into the hype was strong. The money and fame that came with it were tangible. Yet, beneath the bravado, there was a quiet recognition that his previous missteps had left a hole he could not fill with more noise.